and welcome back to the Scenario 7 podcast. My name is Sam, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely two co-hosts. It's Joe Roberts and Josh Bacon. How are you two doing?
I'm doing good, thank you, Sam.
I'm good, thank you, Sam. How about yourself?
Oh, you're asking for once. The first week they've actually asked how I'm doing great, thank you for asking. But we're not here to ask about how I'm doing. We're here to preview the Azerbaijan Grand Prix in Baku. We're going to be telling you some fond memories, what we think we're going to happen. But first of all, before we get to that, Josh and Joe, what do you think about this as a circuit?
I like the track. I think it's high speed. It's also a bit dangerous. You can do you can put it in the wall quite easy. It's a bit like Monaco in a way of the first sector, which is like twists and like tight, and then you got the long back straight, back straight, and also the other straight in order to get like the overtakes. But apart from that, it can cause very boring races. But it's just part of the parcel of some tracks.
Yeah, I think it's a very technically gifted track. Each sector is pretty much different in terms of the tracks. Obviously, Sector 3 is basically much just a massive long straight, and Sector 2 is winding, short, narrow tracks and turning everywhere. But I think it's good. It's different, which is what I like. Which is probably a good thing for the calendar. But yeah, it's a different kind of street circuit, which I think is a good thing for the calendar.
Yeah, it certainly has. It's either one of two things. It's either a boring race with not much overtaking, or there's lots of crashes, lots of safety cars, and it's a great race. You have that massive back straight. It's, in my opinion, the best street circuit. I really do like this track, especially some of the races in the past here have been really good, especially as the cars have got wider. And yeah, I think it's a really good track. Moving on to, let's talk about fond memories. Joe and Josh, I think you're going to go for the same one here, and you're going to split the responsibilities. But tell me about your favourite race from Baku.
Yeah, we both chose the 2017 Azerbaijan Grand Prix. There's not really many to choose on, to be honest. As Joe said, there's some can be quite boring, so we had to try and find some exciting ones. And with the 2017 race, it was Ricciardo winning, starting from 10th and somehow managing to finish first. And then I think Stroll getting his first podium, I think it was. It might not be his first, but he definitely got on the podium with Bottas coming second. And then another note that I've got down here is McLaren getting their first points of the season, and for quite a while, because obviously before then they were struggling quite a bit. So I think it was Alonso getting the point for them, but yeah, they got a point. So that's why it's exciting for me, but Joe will explain why it is for him.
Oh yeah, it's like the controversial opinions you like, Josh, for me. It's like, I think it was like Hamilton, and obviously Hamilton, Vettel at the time, Mercedes and Ferrari were in a deep scrap for the title at the beginning of the season, and Vettel decided to be quite immature and hit the back of him because hit the side of him because he thought Hamilton brake tested him, but it's just should have used his eyes and that. But and then obviously you said, I think it was Alonso. I think on the first lap he had a puncture, if I can remember. It might be 2018, as again, as Josh said, there's quite a lot of boring races around here. There's only, I think, 2 that you can probably choose from. But yeah, and then Ricciardo, I think, had an amazing race going from 10th to 1st. Obviously helped in the fact that Hamilton had to pit, and then also Vettel had a 5-second penalty, and I think Verstappen, was a Red Bull. I think it was either that or Kvyat, and then one of them had to retire because of that. But for me, that's the whole reason of 2017 being the best, is the immaturity of Sebastian Vettel on hitting Hamilton.
Yeah, but you definitely don't hold a grudge over it, Joe, and that's what we love about you. Never holding a grudge. But I I've gone for the race a year after 2018. And for me, this is one of my favorite races in recent times. There was crashes, there was drama, everything you want in a Formula One race happened in it. Like, they could have made a documentary just about this race alone. And the biggest thing that it's remembered for, its main heating point, it was a massive battle between the two Red Bull teammates, between Ricciardo and Verstappen. There was some brilliant racing between the two, no team orders, and then lap 40 came and Ricciardo hit the back of Verstappen, which I think is Verstappen's fault because he made a late move to block Ricciardo and Ricciardo couldn't react to that. And that was really the start of the end for Ricciardo, and he moved to Renault the season after. Only 13 drivers finished that race because of just how hectic it was. Sergio Perez, my boy, got his second podium in Baku, the last podium that Force India ever got. But as there was a last, as I just said, but there were lots of firsts as well. Charles Leclerc, one of the most likable drivers on the grid right now, got his first points. The first points for a drive from Monaco since 1950, and Brendan Hartley got his first points for a New Zealand driver since 1976. Hamilton ended up winning, which can't complain about. Raikkonen second, Perez third. It's a fun podium. It was an amazing race, and that is why the 2018 Baku Street Circuit Grand Prix is my fond memory of this track.
Sam, why don't you have any controversial opinions there?
What do you mean? What controversial opinions do I need to bring? I have my
the Ricciardo and Verstappen, as in you could argue that Ricciardo shouldn't have gone for the gap.
Yeah, but I stand by. I'm a Ricciardo fan, Joe. As you brought up so much last week, I'm not gonna diss my man Danny Rick, and it was Verstappen's fault, right? Ricciardo had every right to go for that move. He had the slipstream, he had the DRS. He was coming down the straight. He was making a move. Verstappen should have just defended, but not defended too hard because it was his teammate, and it was Verstappen's fault. And that's the last thing I'm going to say on this, because
you can also argue that you want dangerous races because you want people to crash and they can die from the speed they're going at in these crashes, and you're saying it's not fun about crashes.
All right, I'm flipping it. All right,
You're getting flipped out, mate.
I mean, all right, guys. I just like collisions, the crashes. Yeah, this got really deep fast, but I'm going to move on from this now. Thanks for making it morbid, but we're going to move on and we're going to do 5 predictions for the weekend. Josh and Joe, what have you got?
I'm going to go first because I think Josh is more listed better than mine. I'm going to go for Sam gets his predictions wrong again.
I love that. I like that.
The fourth one is Hamilton will win the Baku race and get it on pole.
I'm gonna butt in here. I got Verstappen to win the Monaco Grand Prix. I got that right. I did get one right. Okay.
Max Verstappen will crash in the castle section to a Charles Leclerc. The Ferraris will be decent this weekend, as you'll be surprised, and McLaren will get a car on the podium. I think that's 4. So another one. Mazepin will crash.
I know that had to come out somewhere, didn't it?
Yeah.
Mine are quite similar to Joe, even though I've clearly prepared and he hasn't. But instead of Verstappen crashing out to someone like Leclerc, I said that there's going to be a repeat of the 2018 Grand Prix, and the 2 Red Bulls are going to crash each other out in the race at some point. Bit bold, a bit out there, but why not go for it? And then I also put Ricciardo to obviously carry on struggling. It's another street circuit, and he's still not used to the car, so I think he's going to carry on struggling in that McLaren. And then also like Joe, I think Ferrari's going to be in the fight again, fighting for pole, fighting for podiums, and maybe even the win. But yeah, I think they're going to be strong. And also, I think AlphaTauri are going to be the best of the midfield. So best out of them, Alpine, Alfa Romeo, and Aston Martin. I think they're going to be the best this weekend, or the fastest. And also, I've put, just like last week, I've put Mazepin to finish higher than his teammate Schumacher. Something bold, but he's done it. He did it last week in a street race, so there's no reason why he can't do it again. Because Schumacher seemed to struggle last week around tight corners, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But they're my 5 predictions.
There we go. There are some interesting takes there. My first one is I think that Red Bull will dominate quali and the race like they did they didn't in Monaco, but I think they will dominate quali in the race. Verstappen looks brilliant this season, and this track is very much a Red Bull track over Mercedes. And I think that Perez, he's got history with doing well here. I think he will also do well here again. My second prediction is something that the opposite of what you two said. I think that Ferrari will not replicate their pace from last week in Monaco. I think their car is quick. I think it will compete with McLaren, maybe, but I don't think that they will necessarily be fighting for maybe third, but I don't think they're going to be fighting for pole or a podium personally. My third prediction is Pierre Gasly getting points. I was going to say, like you said, AlphaTauri, best of the midfield, and they probably will off Gasly's points alone, but I don't think Tsunoda's necessarily got enough experience to really get any points here unless there's a lot of crashes. But yeah, I could see Gasly getting maybe a 6th or 7th with the Honda engine looking very good. I've got Alfa Romeo to get a point or two. I don't know what it is about them, but I'm liking Alfa Romeo this season. Raikkonen and Giovinazzi are quite a decent driver lineup, and Giovinazzi's kind of improved and has kept improving as he's gone on. And I think one of them will get some points. And my final one is a red flag because someone will crash at the castle section. I haven't been so specific to say who. I don't know who it's going to be, but I do think there'll be a red flag because someone has crashed at the castle section. And now we move on to being more specific. Let's go on to our top 5 drivers. Who do you guys think are going to get the podium, 4th and 5th?
You know what? I'll go first this time. Well, obviously, you know that I've already predicted both of the Red Bulls to crash out. So obviously, neither of them are in my top 3 or top 5. But I've gone from 5th place. I think Sainz will get 5th. And then I think Bottas will get 4th. I think he'll try and bounce back, but obviously he's still not quite at the level of the other drivers, Verstappen and Hamilton, all that lot. So I think he'll come 4th. I think Leclerc will get 3rd, bouncing back from Monaco. Then I've put Lando Norris to come 2nd. Finally get another podium, but higher up on the podium this time. And that's probably a bit bold. You know, I've got to back my boy. And then obviously I've put Lewis Hamilton to win because he's just amazing, isn't he? So yeah, that's my top 5.
Well, I'm not going to go quite extreme with Josh on this one. I'll go Lewis Hamilton's going to win the race. I think Max Verstappen will be P2. And then P3, obviously I said McLaren will get a podium. But I do think it will be Ricciardo getting that podium. And hopefully he handles the car a lot better than he has this season. Then I think it'll be Norris. Then I'm going to go for Bottas.
Didn't you say that Verstappen was going to crash at the castle section, Joe?
I said in qualifying.
Oh, in qualify. Sorry, I misheard. So onto mine. I've gone not very exciting, but I think that Lando Norris is going to finish 5th. He's the best out of the McLaren. Or he's better than Ricciardo, and I think he'll do better than Leclerc and Sainz, and they're the only ones who can really battle for that spot. Bottas, I've got 4th. I've got my boy Checo Perez in 3rd. He's going to get another podium in Baku, and it's going to be amazing. His first podium or second podium for Red Bull. I think it's his first. It would be.
First, yeah.
Yeah, and Hamilton second, because I think that Verstappen's going to be too quick and he's going to win the race. And that's my top 5, and that wraps up the podcast. Thank you for watching and listening. Joe's got a smirk on his face as relief, and but yeah, thanks for watching and listening. Thank you for joining me, Josh and Joe. And yeah, we will see you for a review coming out on Monday. And yeah, thanks for watching and listening, and see you then.